Hello everyone. Today in this video, we'll learn about throttling devices. So first of all, uh, I want to say what are the throttling devices. So any device which produces significant pressure drop in fluid flow is called as throttling device. Any device which produces significant pressure drop in the fluid flow is called as throttling device. So the device which produces significant pressure drop of fluid is called as throttling devices. That means suppose fluid is flowing and you are using a device which is producing pressure drop in that fluid. So that device is called as your throttling device. And these throttling devices are flow restricting devices. These devices are flow restricting devices. Okay, that means this fluid device, if you use these types of device, it will obstruct the flow or restrict the fluid flow. And due to the obstruction, what will happen? Pressure will drop. Due to this obstruction, pressure will drop in the fluid flow, and this pressure drop will occur. This pressure drop will occur due to the friction. This pressure drop will occur due to the friction. So, what are the throttling devices? Throttling devices means the device which will produce significant pressure drop in the fluid flow is called as your throttling device. And they are the flow restricting devices. They are the flow restricting devices. And if you use these types of device in fluid flow, what will happen? They will decrease the pressure in the downstream, and this pressure decrease will come into picture due to the friction. And we all have seen the throttling devices in our day-to-day life. One example is that is a valves. Valves are the throttling devices. And next one is the porous plug. Third one is the capillary tube. So valves means what are the valves you are using in day-to-day life or in the industrial purpose. They all are come under the throttling devices. So here it is shown here. This is the throttling device. Okay. This is the throttling device. First one is this is the partially opened valve. So you might have seen this device. This is the inlet, and here it is its exit. Okay, and you can open or close by rotating this screw. Okay, so what will happen? See, when fluid will come here and go in this direction, if you push this valve in downward direction, then what will happen? It will choke the flow. That means the flow will be restricted. So this is an example of throttling device, that is your valve. Okay, next example is the porous plug. Okay, so here also the flow will be restricted. Here also the flow will be restricted. Okay, here fluid will enter in. Well, here fluid will enter here and leave here. So when it will pass through this porous plug, what will happen? Its pressure will decrease. Okay. Third example, this is your capillary tube. This is your capillary tube. And this capillary tube you might have seen in your refrigerator and air conditioners also. So this is also a flow obstruction device or restricting device, and it also comes under throttling device. So this throttling device or this capillary tube, this capillary tube is used in refrigerator and air conditioners to decrease the pressure of refrigerant. This capillary tube is used. So whenever you are decreasing the pressure, there may be chance of decreasing the temperature or not. There may be a possibility the temperature may decrease or may not be. Okay, so pressure drop. So pressure drop in fluid is often accompanied by a large drop in temperature, for the reason that throttling devices are commonly used in refrigeration and air conditioning. See here carefully. So it is saying that pressure drop in fluid is often accompanied by a large drop in temperature. If you take the example of refrigeration and air conditioning, where our sole motto is to reduce the temperature, so by decreasing by use of these types of devices, you can decrease the pressure of the fluid. If the pressure of the fluid is decreasing, there may be a chance that the temperature will decrease. So pressure drop in fluid is often accompanied by a large drop in temperature. For that reason, throttling devices are commonly used in refrigeration and air conditioning applications. That means if you are decreasing the pressure of the fluid, there may be possibilities that the temperature may decrease. It is not always true that the temperature will decrease, but possibility is that the temperature will decrease. Okay, so next is a very important thing is here. Both turbines and both turbine and throttling devices produces pressure drop. Both turbine and throttling devices produces pressure drop. Then what is the difference between turbine and throttling device? See, when you are using a turbine, in case of a turbine, what will happen? High pressure, high temperature fluid enters into the turbine, and low pressure, low temperature fluid come out from the turbine at its exit. So if suppose I take the case of steam turbine, suppose steam is entering at 5 bar pressure at its inlet and exit is 1 bar or 2 bar. So there is a large pressure drop in case of turbine also. In the same case here, in the case of throttling device also, you will get the pressure drop. So in both the devices, pressure drop is occurring. But what is the difference between the turbine and throttling device? Both are producing significant pressure drop. The main difference is that turbine is used to produce work output. Turbine can produce work output because it has moving parts. But in case of throttling devices are not capable of producing work output. Be clear that both turbine and throttling devices can produce significant pressure drop in the fluid flow. But difference is that turbine can produce work output, but throttling device cannot produce work output. Okay. So the difference is turbine, there is pressure drop. In case of throttling also pressure drop. But what makes them difference is that turbine can produce work output. Turbine can produce work output. But in case of throttling device, there is no work output. This is the difference between the turbine and throttling device. Turbine can produce work output, throttling cannot produce work output. Both can reduce the pressure. Okay. Now come to thermodynamic analysis of throttling devices. Okay. So here what I have taken, this is a pipe. This is your pipe here. Okay. This is a pipe. And here I have used a valve. This is your valve. Okay. This is your valve. So this is our valve. Okay. So what will happen if I rotate the valve? If I rotate the valve, it will open or close the fluid. It will increase or decrease the fluid flow area here. Okay. So for our thermodynamic analysis purpose, I have taken, this is my control volume. This is my control volume. This is my control volume. Okay. And its inlet point is here. And its exit is here. This is its inlet. Okay. And this is its exit. Fluid is entering in this direction and coming in this direction. Okay. So this is our control volume. Clear? So I denotes inlet to the control volume. E denotes exit from the control volume. I for inlet, E for exit. Okay, we have to see what are the thermodynamic changes that will occur if you use a throttling device in a flow line. If you are using a throttling device in a flow line, what are the thermodynamic changes? So first what we'll do, first I will apply conservation of mass, second I will apply conservation of energy. Okay, then we will find some condition that uh, based on that we'll say that this is the thermodynamic changes that is occurring if you use a throttling device in a flow line. So first what will apply conservation of mass, second will apply conservation of energy to this control volume. Okay, the first one, by applying conservation of energy to this control volume, by applying conservation of mass to this control volume, by applying conservation of mass to the control volume. So we know the rate of change, we know the rate of change of mass, we know the rate of change of mass of fluid in the control volume, that is the dm by dt of the control volume. The rate of change of mass of fluid in the control volume is equal to the rate at which mass is entering into the control volume minus the rate at which mass is leaving from the control volume. Clear? From the law of conservation of mass, the rate of change of mass of fluid in the control volume is equal to the rate at which fluid mass is entering into the control volume minus the rate at which fluid mass is leaving from the control volume. So here it is written here, the rate of change of mass of fluid in the control volume is equal to the rate at which fluid mass is entering into the control volume minus the rate at which fluid mass is leaving from the control volume. Okay, but we know it is if I apply our steady flow conditions, for steady flow, what will happen? Rate for steady flow, what will happen? Any property change with respect to time will be zero. As it is a steady flow, there will be no change of thermodynamic property with respect to time at a particular position. We know in a steady flow what will happen, there will be no change of property with respect to time at a particular position. So what I will get, that is dm by dt of cv, that what I will get, dm by dt of cv, that means the rate of change of mass of fluid in the control volume with respect to time is equal to 0 as it is a steady flow. So what I can write, 0 is equal to mi minus, I can write 0 is equal to m dot I minus m dot e. M dot I is the rate at which mass is entering into the control volume, and M dot E is the rate at which fluid mass is leaving from the control volume. So what I will get, if it is 0, then what I will get, M dot I is equal to M dot E is equal to M dot. That means if 5 kilo, suppose let's take an example. If 1 kg per second of fluid is entering into the control volume, if 1 kg per second fluid mass is entering into the control volume, then same 1 kg per second will leave from the control volume. Okay, if 1 kg per second of fluid is entering into the control volume, if here 1 kg per second is entering, the same 1 kg per second will leave. If 2 kg is entering, if 2 kg per second is entering here, then same 2 kg per second will leave here. That means in steady flow, whatever fluid flow entry into the control volume, the same will come out from the control volume. Okay, so what we got, m dot I is equal to m dot E is equal to m dot. I am taking this m dot I is equal to m dot E is equal to m dot. Okay, then we have to apply conservation of energy to this control volume. Then we have to apply conservation of energy to the control volume. If I apply this conservation of energy to this control volume, then what I will get? Similarly, like your mass conservation, what you will get, the rate of change of energy of the fluid in the control volume, that is the rate of change of energy of fluid in the control volume is equal to the rate at which energy is entering into the control volume minus the rate at which energy is leaving from the control volume. The rate of change of energy of the fluid in the control volume, that is dE by dt of Cv per control volume, is equal to the rate at which energy of fluid entering into the control volume, that is E dot I, minus the rate at which energy leaving from the control volume, that is E dot E. Okay, so it is written here, the rate of change of energy of fluid in the control volume is equal to rate at which energy of entering fluid stream is changing minus the rate at which energy of leaving fluid stream is changing. That means whatever energy that is coming minus whatever energy is coming out with respect to time from into the control volume minus from the control volume. That means if the change of, if I write here, that means the rate at which energy of the fluid in the control volume changing with respect to time is equal to the rate at which energy is entering into the control volume minus the rate at which energy is leaving from the control volume. Okay, but we know for steady flow condition, the rate of change of energy of the fluid in the control volume is equal to 0. But we know for steady flow, rate of change of energy of fluid in the control volume is equal to 0. That means no property will change with respect to time at a particular position. So energy will not change with respect to time. So what we'll get? E dot I is equal to E dot E, because dE by dt of control volume is equal to 0. So then what I'll get? M dot I whole into HI plus VI square by 2 plus GZI plus Q dot is equal to M dot E whole into HE plus VE square by 2 plus GZE plus W dot. Okay, that means here the left side is the energy that is entering into the control volume, and the right side, this is the energy that is leaving from the control volume. Okay, you might have studied this equation in derivation of steady flow energy equation. This is our called as what? Steady flow energy equation. This is our called as what? Steady flow energy equation. This total equation is called as what? Steady flow energy equation. Okay, so for throttling devices, we have to apply our suitable conditions in this equation to get our desired result. This equation is called as steady flow energy equation. Okay, what do we know that m dot I is equal to m dot E is equal to m dot. Okay, as it is a steady flow device, so m dot I is equal to m dot E is equal to m dot. Okay, so if I put these conditions in this steady flow energy equation, then what I will get here, that is equal to m dot I whole into HI plus VI square by 2 plus GZI plus Q dot is equal to m dot whole into HE plus VE square by 2 plus GZE plus W dot. Okay, so all the terms related to I, which are related to I is for the inlet. All the terms related to E is for the exit from the control volume. That is, the I is the inlet to the control volume and E is the exit from the control volume. Clear? So what I can write here, this HI is the enthalpy of the fluid stream which is entering into the control volume, because I for the inlet. HI is the enthalpy of the fluid stream entering into the control volume. Vi square by 2 is the kinetic energy of the fluid entering into the control volume. Gzi is the potential energy of the fluid which is entering into the control volume. Okay, and if I add these three terms and multiply with the mass flow rate, it will give the total energy, because all these three terms that is HI plus VI square by 2 plus GZI, these three terms are calculated based on the energy per unit mass, or it is called as specific energy. If I multiply with the mass flow rate here, I will get the total energy. Okay, Similarly, here in the right side, HE is the enthalpy of the fluid coming out from the control volume. VE square by 2 is the enthalpy of the VE square by 2 is the kinetic energy of the fluid coming out from the control volume, and GZE is the potential energy of the fluid coming out from the control volume. All the suffix E is related to exit from the control volume. If I multiply with m dot, it will give what? Total energy, because the bracketed terms are calculated based on the energy per unit mass. Okay, so this is called as what? This is called as what? Steady flow energy equation. Okay, now we have to put our conditions. To the throttling device. Okay, now see, in throttling device what happens? The process what is occurring, it is a very rapid process. If you open the valve, suddenly what will come? Okay, so throttling is a rapid process. If throttling is a rapid process, then there will be no time will be available for heat transfer. If throttling is a rapid process, then there will be no time is available for heat transfer. If no time will be available for heat transfer, then Q dot is equal to 0. Clear? If it is a rapid process, then there will be no time available for heat transfer. So Q dot is equal to how much? 0. Okay. Then next. Also, small area is available for heat transfer. By combining these two, what will get? The heat transfer is equal to 0. As it is a rapid process and there is no area available for heat transfer, so Q dot is equal to 0, because heat transfer require area. Okay, so by putting these two conditions, you will get here what? Q dot is equal to 0. This is our first assumption. Now come to second one. Second assumption I am taking here, kinetic energy change is negligible, because contribution of kinetic energy with respect to thermal energy is negligible. That means you see here there is a term that is HI, and there is another term that is equal to HE. HI is here for inlet, and VI square by 2 is for the kinetic energy of the fluid for unit mass at the inlet. But the thermal energy responsible here, this enthalpy is responsible for thermal energy of the fluid, and the contribution of enthalpy for the thermal energy of the fluid, is much more greater than this kinetic energy of the fluid at inlet. Okay, so the contribution made by kinetic energy of the fluid to thermal energy is very much less than this enthalpy. So Vi square by 2 is neglected. Because the contribution is negligible than that of enthalpy, so Vi square by 2 term is neglected. Similarly, here also what we can do here, this V square by 2 can be neglected. So as the contribution is less, so we can neglect the kinetic energy. So Vi square by 2 is nearly about 0, and here this V square by 2 is also nearly about 0. Okay, then see, one thing comes here, this at the inlet this Vi square by 2 is smaller than, very smaller than this HI. But in practical cases what we'll get here, this V square by 2 has some significant value. Okay, but it is a general practice that you neglect the total kinetic energy. That means you neglect the kinetic energy at inlet and neglect the kinetic energy at exit also. Okay, you neglect the kinetic energy at inlet and neglect the kinetic energy at exit of the control volume. Okay, the potential energy change. Potential energy change, if you neglect the potential energy change, so this GZI and GZE, this GZI and this GZE will be negligible. Okay, no change in potential energy also negligible. So see, if you are using the horizontal pipe and I am putting a valve here, so I am taking a datum line here. So this height Zi and this height Ze, this height Zi and this height Ze are same. So this will be neglected. If you are using also a vertical pipe also, if you are using a vertical pipe also, if you are using a vertical pipe, okay, if you are using a vertical pipe and using a valve here, and you are using a valve here, okay, so and I am taking a reference here, the inlet and exit, sorry, in this direction flow is occurring, the distance between this is Zi and this is your Ze. So the distance between Zi and Ze are approximately same. So there is no significant distance between Zi and Ze. So this in vertical case also the potential energy change can be also neglected, because the distance, the GZI and Ze both are approximately same. So the potential energy change can also be neglected in the horizontal case and in the vertical pipe case. Okay, so we are also neglected the potential energy, and there is no such mechanism to extract work from the fluid. There is no such mechanism in throttling devices so that they can extract work from the fluid. There is no mechanism for extraction of work so that this W dot is equal to 0. In throttling devices there is no such mechanism so that they can extract work from the fluid, so the W dot is equal to 0, so they cannot extract work. So by putting all the assumptions 1 2 3 4 what we have uh, seen here, by putting all assumptions, this bi square by 2, gzi neglected, q dot I neglected, b square by 2 neglected, gz neglected, w dot is neglected. So what finally we got, that is your hi. What we finally got, that is your hi is equal to he. Okay, what we got, that hi is equal to he. What we got, that hi is equal to he. See, what is HI and what is HE? HI is the enthalpy of the fluid entering into the control volume. HE is the enthalpy of the fluid which is coming out from the control volume. So we got that HI is equal to HE. What we got, HI is equal to HE. So from this expression it is clear that, from this expression what we got here, it is clear that enthalpy before throttling, enthalpy of fluid before throttling is equal to enthalpy of fluid after throttling, because I for the inlet, E for exit. So before throttling, what is the enthalpy of the fluid? The same is available with the fluid when it is coming out from the throttling device. Okay, now a major question comes. Now a major question comes. Does the enthalpy remain same throughout the process? What we got here, that is enthalpy before throttling is equal to enthalpy after throttling. That is HI is equal to HE. That means enthalpy at entry to the control volume is equal to enthalpy at the exit of the control volume. Or we can say that enthalpy before throttling is equal to enthalpy after throttling. So my question is, does the enthalpy remain same throughout the process? Answer is no. From the expression what we are getting, HI is equal to HE. So this does not guarantee that this expression, this expression what we got here, this expression does not give you guarantee that the enthalpy remains same throughout the control volume. This signifies that, this equation signifies that enthalpy before throttling is equal to enthalpy after throttling. But this expression does not give you guarantee that the enthalpy throughout the throttling process remains. So answer to this question will be no. Does the enthalpy remains same throughout the process? Answer is no. Okay. And there is a major misconception among the people that Throttling is an isenthalpic process. Throttling is an isenthalpic process. Isenthalpic means enthalpy remains constant throughout the process. Isenthalpic means enthalpy remains constant throughout the process. Okay, but you can see here what we got from the energy equation, that enthalpy before throttling is equal to enthalpy after throttling. That means enthalpy before throttling is equal to enthalpy after throttling of the fluid. So enthalpy does not remains constant throughout the throttling process. Okay, this is a major misconception. Now, for throttling process, what we got here, that is equal to Hi is equal to He, and we know H is equal to how much? That is the specific internal energy plus the flow work, that is the PV. This is your specific internal energy. This is the flow work. So we know H is equal to how much? U plus PV. So for inlet and for exit, it can be written as, for inlet it can be written as Ui plus Pi Vi. For exit it can be written as Ue plus Pe. Okay, we will put different conditions. See, H is equal to U plus PV. H is equal to U plus PV. So there are different conditions. First condition is that PV. First condition is that flow work at exit, that is PV, is greater than the flow work at inlet. So this is the condition. If this is the condition, then what will happen? UE is less than Ui. Then what will get? Ti is greater than T. Let's see here. What we got here? What we got here? That is that H is equal to U plus PV. That means enthalpy is the summation of internal energy plus flow work. Okay. Suppose if I am increasing the flow work, then what will happen? This specific internal energy has to decrease. If H has to remain constant, if one term is increasing, then second has to decrease. Suppose for a case internal energy is increasing, H has to remain constant, so that the flow energy has to decrease. Two combinations are there. If the flow work will increase, then internal energy has to decrease. If flow work is decreasing, internal energy has to increase. So this is written here. That is PEV, that is PEV, that is the flow work at the exit is greater than the flow work at the inlet. So that what will happen? If flow work at the exit is increasing, so that what will happen? The internal energy at the exit has to decrease. If the flow work is increasing here at the exit, so for enthalpy remains constant, so specific internal energy at the exit has to decrease. So UE is less than U. This flow work at exit is increasing, so what will happen? This internal energy at the exit will decrease. So that what will happen? We know U is function of temperature. U is function of temperature, that is specific internal energy is a function of temperature. So what will happen? Temperature at inlet to the control volume will be greater than the temperature at the exit of the control volume. That means if the flow work is increased at exit, then internal energy at exit will decrease. If internal energy is decreasing, so what will happen? The temperature at the exit from the throttling device will be less than the temperature of the fluid at inlet to the control volume. Okay. Similarly, for if similarly take the second case, if the flow work at the inlet is increasing, or if the flow work at inlet is greater than flow work at the exit, then what will happen? If H has to remain constant, then what will happen? Internal energy at the exit from the control volume is greater than the internal energy inlet to the control volume. So what will happen? Temperature at exit will be greater than the temperature at inlet. Okay, if one has to increase, then other has to decrease, because H remains constant. But for ideal gas, what we know that enthalpy is a function of temperature. but for ideal gas we know that enthalpy is a function of temperature. So for throttling we know Hi is equal to He. If Hi is equal to He, then Ti is equal to half T. So for throttling gas, for throttling of an ideal gas, what will happen? The temperature of the gas before throttling and after throttling will remain constant. That means there will be no change of temperature. That means there will be no change of temperature of an ideal gas if you throttle it. So temperature at inlet is equal to temperature at exit. So hence for ideal gas, temperature before throttling is same as temperature after throttling. If you throttle an ideal gas, the temperature will not change because in throttling enthalpy remains constant, or enthalpy at inlet is equal to enthalpy at exit from the control volume. As enthalpy for ideal gas is a function of temperature, so temperature before throttling is equal to temperature after throttling. So in case of ideal gas, temperature does not change if you throttle it. Now see here, some note here. Throttling is a highly irreversible process. Throttling is a highly irreversible process, and it always occurs in the direction of decrease of pressure. And it always occurs in the direction of decrease of pressure. That means if you are throttling any types of fluid, then what will happen? At the exit, you will get pressure is less than the pressure at inlet. So throttling is a highly irreversible process, and it always occurs in the direction of decrease of pressure. Okay, if you are reducing the pressure, then there is a chance that the temperature may or may not decrease, but there is a possibility that temperature may decrease. Okay, so throttling is a highly irreversible process, and it always occurs in the direction of decrease of pressure. So that means in throttling always pressure decreases. Okay, so that means pressure at exit, that is P is greater than, pressure at exit P is less than the pressure at inlet, that is Pi. It is always true. There is we don't give guarantee that temperature may increase, may decrease, may remain constant. We don't give guarantee, but in throttling the process, in the process itself the pressure will decrease at the exit. So in throttling what will happen? Pressure at exit is less than the pressure at inlet. So there is a term that is called as Joule-Thomson coefficient. There is a term that is called as Joule-Thomson coefficient, denoted by the symbol mu j. Denoted by the symbol mu j. Okay, denoted by the symbol mu j. Okay, so what is this Joule-Thomson coefficient mu j? It is the change of temperature. It is a change of temperature with respect to pressure at constant enthalpy. This is the change of temperature with respect to pressure at constant enthalpy. Okay, that is mu j is equal to del T divided by del P. That is the change in temperature with respect to change in pressure at constant enthalpy. Okay, at constant enthalpy. So this del T can be written as, final temperature, that is T minus Ti. Similarly, we can write del P is equal to final pressure P minus pressure Pi, or exit temperature minus inlet temperature, or exit pressure minus inlet pressure at constant enthalpy. What happens for real gases? We know that for ideal gas, we got here for ideal gas temperature remains constant. Temperature before throttling is equal to temperature after throttling. But what happens if you throttle on a real gas? Okay, so for real gas, if this mu j, if this Joule-Thomson coefficient mu j is greater than 0, then what will happen? We know for throttling, all the cases of throttling, pressure will decrease. We know for all the cases of throttling, pressure will decrease. P is less than Pi. If P is less than Pi, then what will happen? T should be less than Ti. Because if you see this expression here, this mu j is equal to T minus Ti divided by P minus Pi. This denominator term is always negative. And we are saying that for a case mu j is greater than 0, and this is greater than 0 means this is positive. We are taking a case where this mu j is positive. Denominator is negative. To get this mu j positive, this numerator should be positive. Sorry, this numerator should be negative. So what will happen? This, if the numerator has to negative, that means TE should be less than TI. Okay. So what will happen? TE is less than TI. That means temperature at exit. That means temperature of the fluid at exit is less than the temperature of the fluid at the inlet. That means what will get, the when the fluid will come out from the throttling device, its temperature will reduce. So it is called as cooling. Okay. So whenever it is required to produce less temperature, okay, if mu j is greater than 0, then cooling will occur. And this property of the fluid, or refrigerant is used in your refrigerator and air conditioner to produce cooling effect. Second case, if mu j is negative. What happens if this Joule-Thomson coefficient is negative? If this Joule-Thomson coefficient is negative, then see what will happen. Okay. If Joule-Thomson coefficient is negative, then see what will happen. This is negative, and we know denominator is always negative because P is less than Pi. Denominator negative, our result should be negative here, so this numerator should be positive. If numerator is positive, means that means T should be greater than Ti. That means TE should be greater than Ti. That means temperature at exit from the throttling device should be greater than the inlet. That means if our desired effect is this one, mu j is less than 0, if mu j is less than 0, and we know in throttling PE should be always less than Pi. So what will happen if this mu j is negative, then you will get temperature at exit should be greater than the temperature at inlet. So this will produce heating effect. So if mu j is less than 0, it will produce heating effect. If mu j is less than 0, it will produce heating effect. If mu j is greater than 0 or positive, it will produce cooling effect. If mu j is equal to 0, means that means you are throttling an ideal gas. Three possibilities are there: 0, positive, negative. If it is 0, that means it is an ideal gas. If it is positive, if mu j is positive, that means it will produce cooling effect. If mu j is negative, it will produce heating effect. So for almost all gases, mu j is greater than 0. Okay. By throttling, its temperature will decrease. If mu j is greater than 0 or it is positive, then by throttling that gas, it will produce less temperature and it will produce cooling effect. But there are some exceptions are there. What are the exceptions? That is hydrogen gas, helium gas, neon gas. These are some exceptions that if you throttle these three gases, they will always produce heating. If you throttle these three gases, they will always produce heating effect. Instead of cooling, they will produce what? Heating effect. So these three gases, if you throttle this, they will produce heating effect. And here it is, one thing is written here: hydrogen gas handling is difficult, else it may causes explosion. See, what will happen in the case of hydrogen? Suppose you have stored hydrogen in a cylinder and you are using a valve to supply that hydrogen gas to some purpose. Suppose there is some leakage. If there is some leakage, then hydrogen gas will come out from the tank, high pressure tank. Then throttling will occur. But we know if you throttle hydrogen gas, its temperature will increase. As hydrogen gas is flammable, so what will happen? Due to this throttling, temperature will increase and it may catch fire and it may lead to the explosion of the cylinder. So you might have seen the explosion of hydrogen gas cylinder. So this is the reason, if there is a minute leakage in the hydrogen gas cylinder also, there will be throttling will occur. Due to throttling, its temperature will increase. This temperature increase will lead to the explosion of the tank. Okay, so this is all about the throttling and throttling devices. Okay, thank you all for your attention.